Okay. Yeah. How do I do no sound? How how do I change the bloody audio? Sound is good. You can hear me? Okay. For some reason, it's not appearing on my screen. Okay, that's cool. Fantastic. In which case, now all I have to do is work out how I can actually change the contrast on the video. So what you're looking at there is actually, and this is like a really entry-level scope. This is a 3-inch Maxutov, which uh, it's tiny on the grand scheme of things. But even at this, bigger scope wouldn't help really at all. Ah, dang, if only you could see my mouse, but you see how much the edge of the moon is shimmering. Even if I were to put a much bigger scope on this, which I'm half tempted to do. So at the moment, you got to bear in mind that when you look at, so if you actually go out now and look up in the sky, uh, you will see that the moon's got a bite taken out of it. Now the moon is moving from the right to the left. Now, and that's basically, so the Earth's shadow is essentially a static point in space, and the moon is moving through it. So I'm just taking a ballpark estimate. It's not going to get to totality, but just trying to think if I can orientate this properly. It would want to be more like that, I think. So unfortunately, I can't zoom out any more than this, but let's see if we can get the focus back. The moon by this reckoning would be moving approximately, God, it's not going to get to totality. So it's almost moving in line with the shadow. So my reckoning is, yeah, the bit that you're looking at now, that little triangle on the top, that's going to go into totality by the end of the eclipse. And this bit down here is not going to go into totality at all. And it's going to take quite some time. I was rather hoping to put some bigger scopes on here so you can, but the thing is, they're all Maxutov, so they've got absolutely obscene focal lengths, which is very good for seeing small stuff, but not so good for seeing big stuff. So even at this, I've got 2 focal reducers on this, and I still can't see the whole moon. But with this, I should. Saturn is right next to the moon at the moment. So Saturn is, in terms of moon diameters, is about 7 moon diameters to the right of the moon and about 4 up. So I'm going to see if I can find Saturn, okay? Yeah, then we'll come to Jupiter. But I can't do Jupiter. Jupiter's behind the house at the moment. Oh, son of a bitch. I might be able to just about do Jupiter. I'm going to have to move the telescope, okay? So this is going to be a real botch here. I think I can do it, but Jupiter's not going to last long at all. Oh god, it's going to take a long time like that. Facts. Jupiter. Okay, so we are ditching the moon and we're going to Jupiter. So you're actually now going to see Jupiter on about the same scale as you saw the moon. Apart from it's not there because I had to move the telescope by hand. Okay, let's do something bold. You're gonna have to excuse me here. This requires some fumbling in the dark, and even at that, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get it. Oh, there he was. That was it. That's Jupiter. That's Jupiter. Let's lock us up. So that's on exactly the same scale. You just about see some equatorial belts on it. And if I could figure out how to control the camera at this point, I could show you the moons. So, as you can see, Jupiter is about the size of a large crater on the moon. Unfortunately, zoom in, I would love to, but like I was saying, I am an absolute noob at the live streaming stuff. Where is the camera settings button? Is there not a camera settings button? What else that one do? I don't think that says in that share. I don't want to share. Does anyone know where the camera settings button is? If I get the camera settings under control, I can actually sort of change the exposure and you'll be able to see all the moons. But yeah, no, I am so bad at this. I just want the camera settings. It used. Yeah, unfortunately, if I was going through OBS or something, then it would be dead easy. Or if I was going through the actual software for the camera, it's dead easy. For that sort of thing, I'm not too bad. But I don't see anything for controlling the camera. Oh, arse. Yeah, I would love to dial up the exposure, but I don't know how. There are no. The live streaming is something I need a little practice on. Oh no. Buttons for the camera. Ah, maybe it's in a different window. No. Maybe. Info. Using what scope? This is a 3-inch Maxutov. So this is an absolute entry-level scope. It'll cost Um, oh, probably about $150, I would have thought. It's being driven on a mount at the moment, an Altaz go-to mount, which is actually doing a fairly reasonable job at tracking. But yeah, even if I were to put, I've got a 5-inch and a sort of 7-inch Planet Killer Maxutov out here. Um, Even if I were to put the big one on at the moment, it'll see almost nothing because the image is just shimmering so badly with the atmosphere that it really won't help that much. Right. In the mic, that's no good. I don't want to end the stream. I want to change the exposure on the camera. Oh well, I don't think it's going to happen today, but I will now move you over to Saturn, which will again require a little fumbling, but it will show you Saturn relative in size to Jupiter, which is a bit of fun. So that's the go-to mount is now scrolling over to Saturn. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. The thing is, the 3-inch Maxutov, I don't actually have a finder on it, which is actually really quite important for finding stuff. But with the 3-inch Maxutov, the field of view on the telescope is it's not so bad. So usually finding stuff isn't that much of a chore. You can always do it by dead reckoning. But we're gonna have to do the dead reckoning thing again. So you're gonna have to forgive me for a second while I wave the telescope around to try and find Saturn. And I can't look at the screen while I'm doing it. There he is. That's Saturn. There you go. Look, rings, rings. Let's lock him up on both axes. So that's actually Saturn. Yeah, the rings are wide open at the moment. So Saturn's rings actually have a huge axial tilt on them. So as as Saturn goes around the sun, which takes about 30 years, the rings are like this twice in the Saturn year, and they're edge on twice in a Saturn year. So it's approximately every 7 years or something, they go from wide open like this, which is absolutely awesome. This is almost as good as Saturn viewing gets. Well, it'd be even better if I could control the exposure on the camera. But it goes from wide open to edge on, and when it's edge on, you really can't see the rings at all. So yeah, that's almost as good as Saturn gets. And the moon is now approaching mid-eclipse. Can I not just change the... So if I could change to the any other camera whatsoever, I could actually show you, how the moon is going to go through the Earth's shadow. But it's a learning experience. Right, so the camera at the moment on this thing is fairly sophisticated. It's a Skyrish 236 color, which is worth about 3 times as much as the telescope that it's on. In fact, if you want, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to move up. Sucks that I can't control the contrast, but I'm going to put in the 5-inch Maxutov, which will blow this up quite a lot. Actually, in fact, what I'm going to do, because I can do it and it's dead easy at the moment, is right. Maxutovs have really long focal lengths, which in practice means they have very small field of views. Makes them very good for planets and kind of crappy for almost everything else. So I've taken off now one of the focal reducers, and there we go. It's bigger. fainter, but bigger. Right. So now I'm going to put in the 5-inch max shoot off. So it'll about double in size again and probably double in brightness. So going from how bright it is depends basically on how much how much area of mirror you have. So 3 squared is roughly the mirror area of a 3-inch telescope, so that's about 9, and we're going up to 5 inches, so it's going to go up to 25. So it's 2.5 times more light we're going to get on the big telescope. So I'm going to have to take that one off. So it's all going to go black for a second as I move the telescope down. But just so you know, that really was Saturn live from the eyepiece. All right, let's get a 5-inch max use off on here. Good. And right, now I'm going to swap over the. There we go. Now, the chances of that being aligned still, or even anywhere near focus, are almost 0. But let's just gamble and hope that it's just out of focus. Right, so the easy thing to do at this point is just to zip over to the moon, right? Because I've changed the telescope, the focus will be different and everything. So I'm just going to zip over to the moon, where we'll see the eclipse in progress again, apart from it'll be much bigger and much brighter. So, what do we want? We want to go to, Pluto's up. Your chances of seeing Pluto on a night like this, with a telescope like this, are absolutely 0, by the way. Oh, by the way, I think I realized why I didn't see anything. The reason I didn't see anything is because I've not taken the cover off the front of the telescope. It's like trying to take pictures with the lens cap on. And there's still nothing there. So, right. Come on. Fumbling. Come on, I'm trying to find the bloody moon. Oh, there we go. Something. Aha. Let's lock her up there. As you see, we're a long way out of focus. Which is why I couldn't see Saturn. And trying to work out which way you've got to go to focus is a pain in the ass. Oh. So there we go. That is actually the shape of the Earth that you're looking at there on the moon. And the reason you can tell it's actually the Earth, in fact, it's one of the first reasons they realized that the moon wasn't a light emitting object, right? Light emitting objects don't have shadows on them. And when the moon's full, there are no shadows on it. But when it's, half phase or something, you see all the shadows on the craters very easily. The shimmer is the atmosphere of the Earth, which is absolute killer at the moment. There are no shadows on the moon at the moment because it's full, which means this is absolutely unique. There's only one shadow, and that's actually the shape of the Earth. So if I could zoom out, which unfortunately I can't because it's a very long focal length telescope, very narrow field. But if I could, you actually can see the ratio of the radius of the Earth versus the radius of the moon. If you assume that the Earth's shadow is essentially parallel, it doesn't change much with distance, which is not that bad of an approximation. Anyway, so now we can actually go back to Saturn. you want to go back to Saturn? Good God, look at this shimmer. There's also some dirt on the. No, you wanna stay. That's Tycho, by the way. This great ray crater on the moon is Tycho, who, if I remember rightly, had a metal nose. It was Tycho and Brahe. Uh, yeah, it's not a good time for a lunar eclipse in that the moon's fairly low in the sky, and when things are typically low in the sky, you're looking through quite a lot of atmosphere, which means you get lots of shimmer. So, okay, remember how big Tycho is, and I'm now going to go back to Saturn. That's nowhere. Yeah, it's nowhere near Saturn. Okay, we're going to have to do a little bit of jiggery pokery here. If the telescope was well aligned, the go-to scope should find it sort of every time, but not well aligned. All right, I think it needs to be. Also, it gets progressively harder as the focal length of the telescope gets longer. The chances of being able to find stuff without a finder drop down like crazy. So any second now, if there's any justice in the world, tell me something's just a very three-handed job, this. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to put the. If you'll forgive me for just 1 second, I'm going to grab a finder. Otherwise, I could be here all night without it. Okay. We are. Oh wow! The ISS or something is going over. So the Oh wow! That is like, my God. The chance of me being able to hit that. I'm going to try anyway. Chances of actually getting it almost non-existent, but. Come on, baby, just once. If you see it, you'll actually. Come on. It won't. You'll get about 4 frames or something of it actually going through the field. Oh, son of a bitch. I'm desperately trying to actually track the ISS, the International Space Station. It's hugely bright. And the other thing is, I'm not like you. You're just watching the screen. I'm trying to point a telescope, and the only way I can see if I'm getting it is. I'm just going to wave the telescope around. Oh, arse. Right, so that's now on the to-do list. I'm actually going to see when it comes over, and I'm going to get the telescope properly set up and pointing in the right direction. Anyway, let's come back, and for starters, we'll do the moon. it looks beautiful through the finder. Oh, there we go. That looks fairly hopeful. Good. So the reason I need that is because I've got to align the finder. So once I've aligned the finder, which is now done, I'll center it up on Tycho. There we go. And we need to center it up on Tycho, on the finder. And now it should be idiot proof to get to Saturn. There is, oh wow, there's something just north of Saturn. It's next to a bright star. Yeah, that's Saturn. That's depressing. I hoped it would be brighter, but it is bigger. So it's about the size of Tycho. And yeah, with a camera like this, you can actually get some really good images of it, even from in the middle of a city with chitty seeing. So what the modern imaging stuff does is it takes a gazillion images and it stacks them all up and throws out the crappy stuff, and then it does this sort of wavelet processing that means that you can get very near the resolution limit of the telescope, and you can get some absolutely stunning images of Saturn like that, and the other planets. The other thing that's beautiful about Saturn is about what it be. Usually, it's about 5 or 6 ring diameters out. You can see Titan. Even with a modest-sized telescope, you can see Titan. And Titan's actually got a man-made lander on it. So Titan's an absolutely fascinating. Yeah, that's Saturn in real time. The thing that's fascinating about Titan is it's got an atmosphere, nitrogen atmosphere. Any other place with a nice thick nitrogen atmosphere, it's got about the gravity of the moon, and this thick atmosphere means that if you were there, you could actually, with your human power, you could fly with wings. The downside is, of course, is that it's very cold. Um, the It's got liquid methane on it, which is like something Celsius, and water at that temperature is like concrete. Uh, but yeah, we're very near mid eclipse now. Let's go back to the moon. Oops. Let's go back to the moon. And the moon should just be about there somewhere. You're actually in the dark side of the, well, you're in the Earth's shadow. You're in the Earth's shadow, and now I'm moving you into the light. So there's a huge temperature difference when you do that. Oh, wow. Something's twitchy there. So being on the moon at midday, or like this, it's about the same as being in the desert. There's just complete unobstructed sunlight, and it's like that 24 hours a day. So day on the moon lasts for about 2 weeks. night lasts for about 2 weeks. Solar eclipse is a very welcome piece of shade. It's a shame I can't change the contrast on the camera. Otherwise, I could show you, the inside the Earth's shadow on the moon. But I'm going to have one more go trying this. I mean, there must be a control center or something that allows you to toggle or do something with the camera. I've just got no camera controls at all. Let's go back to Tycho. Tycho's pretty. So it's one of those interesting things. The moon has cratered areas and then flat areas. The flat areas are called mares. And they're basically places where it's been resurfaced with basalt. So as the moon accreted, there was sort of volcanism of one sort or another, which got enough to melt portions of the moon's surface, which is why they're all flat. It didn't resurface, which is why other areas are massively cratered. Right, camera controls. Against hope that if I can pull it up in OBS, which I can't because, of course, the camera is being used by something else. Bitch. End the stream. So chat, help me. How do I get the camera controls on live streaming? I want to be able to choose the contrast and all that sort of thing. And it won't go red tonight. It's not a total lunar eclipse. It only goes red when the whole moon is dark and the only light hitting the moon is being refracted through the Earth's atmosphere. In fact, it's one of those things I've always wanted to do, is to actually sort of be on the moon during a total lunar eclipse, because it would just look so freaky. That you have the Earth moving across in front of the sun, and as it completely blots out the sun, all you would get is this ring of red in the sky. Tycho's 86 kilometers, is it 100 kilometers? Can that be right? Yeah, I suppose it is, actually. So the moon's a couple of thousand kilometers across or something. Participants. No, I don't want any of that. I want my camera controls. Moonbase Alpha. Yeah. For those who don't know what Moonbase Alpha was, it's from a TV series called Space 1999, which was absolutely one of the worst starts for a sci-fi episode ever. There's a massive nuclear explosion on the moon that blows it out of orbit and off into deep space with all the occupants of um, Moonbase Alpha. Now, the thing is that the energy that you would need to blow the moon out of orbit would completely disintegrate the moon. Um, planets are only just held together by gravity. They can't take too much rattling. If you think about the size of a rocket and how much of it actually gets into orbit, it's not much. And so if you had enough energy in a nuclear explosion to blow the moon out of orbit, there wouldn't be much left of the moon. But thankfully, there's this great series. If you ever get to watch it, look it up on YouTube. Moonbase Alpha getting blown out of Earth's orbit. They all get pushed down by the G forces, but fortunately, it's only G forces between about 1 and 3G, just enough to pin them to the ground, but not enough to turn them into liquid. Which is the other thing is, if you work out how much velocity you would have to give to the moon to sort of move it out of radio communications within 10 minutes, like it does in the TV series. Again, anyone who was made of like liquid on the moon would be turned into chunky salsa. Humans really can't take acceleration very well. So this is one of the videos that I've got planned later when I get a chance. Is sort of end of the world live. I'm going to give you all the spoilers now. It's going to start very much with a live stream like this, apart from someone sees a little black disc going across the surface of the moon, which of course would mean that there's an object between us and the moon. And if you can see it as what did someone say earlier? That Tycho, that crater there that you're looking at, is something like 80 kilometers. So that's about the size of that's hugely bigger than the meteor that killed the dinosaurs. The meteor that killed the dinosaurs was about, I think, 10 kilometers, 10 kilometers across. So that crater there that you're looking at, if it was the extinction level event that wiped out the dinosaurs, you would barely see it as a black spot on that crater. Now, if it was a real extinction level event, all life on Earth, that sort of thing, then it would be about the size of that crater there, and that's, someone said earlier, it's about 90 kilometers. That's also about how thick the Earth's atmosphere is. So by the time a meteor the size of that crater you're looking at, by the time one part of it's hitting the Earth, the top side of it will still be in space. And because it'll be traveling about 30 kilometers per second, this is the nice thing about planet killers, is you don't hear them coming. They come in well beyond supersonic. They come in at about 30 times the speed of sound. So you'll never hear the bang that kills you. They will pass a long way through your body before you think bullets are bad. These are about 30 times the speed of a bullet. Oh wow! You see it, bird. You see the bird? There's a bird. Everyone see the bird on the yeah, that was kind of cute. So that's how the world's going to end, is someone's going to be looking at a telescope and they're going to see a meteor move in front. Yeah, actually, it was a moonbird. The moonbirds are much bigger than the earthbirds. So it turns out if you did see a meteor move in front of the moon, it's about 4 hours to the end of the Earth. If it actually is going to hit the Earth, you get about 4 hours, which is almost enough for a complete amateur like me to actually calculate the trajectory. As a general rule, if it's coming right at you, it doesn't move much in the sky. If it's moving lots in the sky, then it's not coming straight at you, it's going around you. So you could work out fairly quickly if it's between you and the moon and it's not moving much, that left or right or up or down or anything like that. If it's just getting bigger, I would love to zoom out, but unfortunately, it's a digital eyepiece on the moon on the telescope at prime focus. I can't zoom in or out, and sadly, this is the one that bugs me. I can't find the contrast controls, and because I'm a complete noob. Yeah, I mean, I've got one button that says end stream, and I don't want to hit that one. Maybe it's just I'm zoomed in or out too much or something. Maybe there's another window here that's all hidden. Right, let's try something bold. Insert ad. I've got an insert ad button. Let's try and pop out chat, see if that does anything. Again, no, nothing. We are now, just so you know, God, trying to work it out. I'm trying to work out which part of the Earth's shadow you're actually looking at there. Oh, you can just about see the meter of the moon in the Earth's shadow. It's kind of cute. Sorry, someone says refresh. So if I hit refresh, do I get a chance to do something with the camera options, do you think? This is a brave option for me. I'm going to try. I'm going to try and hit refresh, because if I can get control of the camera, I can show you all sorts of really cool stuff. So I'm going to do it. Okay, I'm going to hit the refresh button. Don't hate me.